Okay, so our last class, hang on. We're talking about this module นะครับ the managing of the system implementation นะครับ okay so in this module the things that I taught last time was that okay when we have to just like do the system implementation นะครับ so you can see that okay for the when we have to develop นะครับ these the programs นะครับ in the information systems นะครับ apart from that one you also have to do the documentation นะครับ to do the training นะครับ to conduct the data conversion and the system changeover as well this stage นะครับ or this phase is very important นะครับ because I mean actually excuse me actually every phase is important but this phase นะครับ the system analyst need to just send the all of the spec of the software to the programmers already นะครับ so that means the task or the work change นะครับ the hand from the system analyst to the programmers already so that means normally นะครับ if the system is big enough นะครับ the system analyst and the programmers will be people นะครับ so when they are different people the things that you have to be careful is that all the specs that you prepare for them นะครับ must be understandable นะครับ in the same way นะครับ as you would like as a system analyst would like to let the programmers to develop a software so that means นะครับ in this phase the system analyst นะครับ needs to know like the program needs to have the programming fundamentals that means นะครับ all of the computer science people นะครับ we can just like do this task because like all of us have the background in programming before นะครับ some of the system analysts started their task นะครับ from being the programmers first and they found that it might be the time to use their knowledge in order to just communicate with the users นะครับ so that's why they need to let the junior programmers to do their task for the programming while the seniors one may just like help the team in order to communicate with the users นะครับ so this one นะครับ the deliverable is to get the fully functional information systems นะครับ that means all the program run perfectly นะครับ all the data can be input output properly นะครับ and produce the output and store the data in the information system or in the database correctly or if this system must be used to integrate with other systems this kind of system must be able to integrate properly นะครับ okay so last class we talk about like many tasks that we have to do นะครับ many tasks that we have to do in managing the system implementation นะครับ when we have the blueprint for constructing the systems already นะครับ we got from the previous stage นะครับ that is the system design specification นะครับ for the system design spec it comes from all of your input design output design นะครับ it also come from your process design that come from your come from your data flow diagrams นะครับ that you prepare all the data dictionary for the programmers already so that means when the programmer receive all of these system design specification นะครับ so they just like I mean like if you have just like one or two programmers they may have to do everything together that means they have to just like convert from the design นะครับ the interface design screen design or input output design into the program first and then they just like prepare the logic of the programs นะครับ code the logic of the programs while some of the programmers of some teams นะครับ there might be like some programmers who are responsible for the interface นะครับ and also for the input output first นะครับ while another programmer might be responsible for the coding for the logic of the information system, including the database inside the system นะครับ and then they just like integrate these kind of things together. So when you develop the task, when you develop the software นะครับ or apps already นะครับ before you can do the changeover นะครับ means that before you change นะครับ the users to use the new system นะครับ you have to test the system thoroughly and carefully นะครับ so that means in the real information system it will not be just the programmer test his or her program and then you just deliver to the users. We don't do like that. The things you have to do is that you need to have the steps of testing นะครับ Actually, if you are interested in this kind of task, especially for the system implementation management นะครับ this one, the course that we have in computer science software engineering นะครับ it's just like I can tell you that it's a continuous part from the interaction design here, because whenever we have to do the software engineering, it means that you have to check for every aspect in terms of management in your project นะครับ and then we have to just like manage them properly นะครับ in this one นะครับ when you have to do the change over นะครับ from the old system to the new system, everything must be done smoothly. That means นะครับ if the system is ready to use, it doesn't mean that okay, suppose you finish the task, you finish the coding and testing already นะครับ it's in your hand today นะครับ today is 17th of November. We can't นะครับ start the new system on 18th of November straight away. You have to check on many aspects before you can start. What do I mean? It means that if นะครับ users have to use the new systems, do they know how to use it yet? Because it's not the games or it's not the free apps that you can download on your mobile phone นะครับ The information system is the suite of the software นะครับ suite of the programs that consists of many modules. One module and another module may have the interaction นะครับ For example, one module produce the output to be the input of another module นะครับ For example, if we say that okay, our company sell the products นะครับ let's say, and we have 3 modules together. The first module is what to say, sales department นะครับ the sales module. Next module is warehouse module นะครับ warehousing module นะครับ it's related to warehouse department. And the third one is accounting module นะครับ that is related to the accounting departments. Okay, let's see what happened. Firstly, if the sales person sell the product นะครับ to the customer, they enter the sales order into the information systems นะครับ okay, after that what happened next? The sales order that has been entered into the information system will pass to the warehouse department, because the warehouse has to prepare the product to deliver to the customer นะครับ okay, apart from that one, when the customer purchase the product from us already, the things that the sales department will produce is the sales information. The sales information will be used to update in the accounting module, because the accounting module will have to acknowledge that okay, right now there are the sales orders in our company. If the customer purchased from us already, that means the company นะครับ is the debtor นะครับ of the customer already นะครับ they have to keep track in the accounting นะครับ so that's why these 3 modules are related directly. If นะครับ if you can't if the users don't know how to use the system properly, for example, if the sales department know how to enter in the sales order into the system, but accountant นะครับ doesn't know how to use this system. So that means when we deliver the products to the customer already นะครับ if the customer doesn't pay us there is no system to inform or to notify someone who just like contact the customer to pay or if the warehouse department นะครับ doesn't know how to use the system when the sales order arrive there will be the trouble นะครับ the reason is because the customer will never receive the products as their sales order นะครับ never reach the warehouse department and warehouse doesn't know how to pack the stuff นะครับ because they don't know how to check the sales order that is coming into the warehouse นะครับ so that's why before you allow the system to use you have to make sure first นะครับ so normally we may do the checklist นะครับ whether the users know how to use the system or not นะครับ so actually นะครับ some of if it is a small system you may do the checklist but if it is a large system we have to plan it ahead at the very beginning of the project we have to know that okay when will be the training นะครับ when will be the training and when we have to train or when we have to conduct the training how do we gonna train the users for example if we know that we have 3 modules นะครับ inside our information systems will we train every module together at the same time or we will separate that okay sales department train first นะครับ accounting department train next and warehouse department train as the last one นะครับ actually the training if you have 3 modules like this some of the system you have to train them in sequence นะครับ or in order but some of the system we just like we can train different users นะครับ or different modules นะครับ independently so what does it mean as I told you that the sales order must come first and then warehouse department will prepare the packing up of the stuff for the customer and the accounting department will have to acknowledge the incoming money นะครับ or incoming order that we can sell to the customer so we have the what to say we have the what to say account receivable นะครับ that they have to pay to us so if you say that you want to train different modules independently what are we going to do in order to train every module separately นะครับ for the module that need to use the data from another module you can make up the data into the training system นะครับ so what should we do นะครับ in the reality if we have to train the users นะครับ or test นะครับ the system when the system finish we will have to duplicate นะครับ we will have to duplicate the system นะครับ okay let's see suppose we said that okay this is the system the information system including the database inside นะครับ we may call this one as dev1 นะครับ so when it's ready if the development is finished นะครับ we copy นะครับ or we duplicate this system นะครับ and we call this system as testing if the testing is not okay we just like send back นะครับ the feedback to the dev part นะครับ we may separate the server นะครับ okay once the development is finished okay they may send it to update and then test again นะครับ depends on the policy of the company when everything is finished already what will happen next you will create another one นะครับ this one we may call it as training นะครับ training alias or in this one นะครับ we may call it as a sandbox นะครับ we may call it as a sandbox so for training here นะครับ firstly when you have this sandbox or when we have the training alias or training server here นะครับ it may not have any data yet then you may have to create the data into this one นะครับ you may have to create the data into this one so when any users come to train นะครับ on this sandbox นะครับ they can just like train it easily because you have the data inside already and also they can train it independently as well you don't need to create the data into this train I'm sorry you don't need to just like wait for users number one like sales department to create the data into the training server นะครับ because you can create the data into the training server before how can we create the data into the training or the sandbox here the way in order to create the data in here that comes from two different ways the first one นะครับ you may นะครับ convert the data from the old system นะครับ the old system we call it as is system or legacy system นะครับ we convert the data นะครับ we convert the data from the legacy system นะครับ convert the data okay we convert the data from legacy system นะครับ and then just use it in the new system นะครับ or to the proposed system after that นะครับ when we have the training นะครับ we have the training already นะครับ users will understand how to use this system properly after that นะครับ if the system is ready นะครับ if the system is ready everyone understand the systems how to use the system properly already then the next stage is that you just simply go to the dev นะครับ once again and then you just simply นะครับ you just simply duplicate นะครับ the software that we compile already นะครับ into the new server นะครับ into the new server hang on just one below where is my key here okay the new server that we copy นะครับ in here suppose we copy นะครับ the system into the new server for the real usage นะครับ we will call this server as production นะครับ production is production server so what does it mean for the production server here นะครับ it's not a part of training it's not a part of testing นะครับ don't mix them up นะครับ production server must be clean นะครับ must be clean and the data that you have if you say that okay compared to training can the data be the same set yes you can use the same set of data นะครับ so that means from the legacy system if you convert the data นะครับ from legacy system you may be able to use that data copy it into the training server นะครับ and production server or นะครับ the programmers and system analysts actually programmer doesn't know about this the system analyst will know system analysts and the key users นะครับ will check the data first some data that is confidential นะครับ for example if we just like also talking about the commission of the salesperson as well and also the salary of the salesperson as well those kind of information we may have to just like make it up or we may have to delete the original data out นะครับ for the payroll I mean like the salary of the salespeople and the name of the salespeople something like that because if you use it for training if you don't lock the authorization to access the database carefully นะครับ Users in different departments might see the salary of each other, and it's dangerous. Then you have to know that, okay, which piece of data is sensitive. You may have to remove it out. Also, some of the information, for example, the total revenue of the company, you may have to just like hide it, or you may have to delete itนะครับ and make some numbers up, because in the training systemsนะครับ sometimesนะครับ, if we users we are training the usersนะครับ, the developer are still developing for some more partsนะครับ, while I mean the 90 or 95% of the system is finished already. So that's why we ask the users for training. But in some cases, if the development has not finished yet, one thing that you have to consider is that the priority or the authorization of the users is important as well, because you can see that when we study for programming นะครับ the programs that you develop นะครับ is just for one user only. So that's why, okay, if you just like copy this file and give it to your friends, they can open it นะครับ or if you send it to Ajans, we can see it as well. But in the information system, you can't do like that. Everyone has different right to access each module นะครับ separately. For example, if I am sales representative, I cannot see accounting data นะครับ in the accounting module for everything. For example, if I want to know the cost of the product, I can't see it, because sales representative, the duty or the task is to sell the product. They don't have the right to see the cost of the product นะครับ why not? Because if you allow everybody to see every single piece of data, some pieces of data are confidential. For example, if you know the cost of the product, you know that actually, for example, if I'm talking about let's say a wristwatch นะครับ if we say that, okay, our company produce a wristwatch, and we say that, okay, the selling price is 1 million baht per one wristwatch, but the original cost is 2,000 baht. How will you feel? You feel that, hey, actually, if you sell one for 1 million baht, and you say that, okay, your commission is just like 1%, sorry, 0.01% from that selling only. So that means you can sell a wristwatch นะครับ to the customer for 1 million baht, but the commission might be like 1,000 baht only. You may say that, hey, it's not fair. The company sell up to 1 million baht, but how come I can have just like 1,000 baht for this selling this watch only? So this one will cause a problem นะครับ with the management, because if the people who is not responsible for that piece of data, but they can see นะครับ that piece of data, they may just like do something nasty นะครับ. So that's why we never allow everybody to see every single piece of data นะครับ in the information system. The things that you have to do นะครับ the things that you have to do is to set up what we call authorization นะครับ we have to set up authorization. So let me compare นะครับ the authorization that that I talk about in Sky system นะครับ. So firstly, I am your lecturer, right? Once I just print the class list นะครับ when I want to print the class list, I can print the class list of all of my students นะครับ that is no problem นะครับ this is my authorization I can print. Next, if one of you นะครับ is absent and I want to contact you นะครับ assume that we don't have the line messenger นะครับ I would like to contact you. What should I do? The first thing is that I know that in Sky system you record your I mean the admission, not you record the admission department, they record your information including your house location นะครับ the address I mean your phone number นะครับ and other information so if I say that everyone can see every single piece of information in Sky system I can see your phone number and I can call you straight away นะครับ this one MUSC don't allow us to do so because if I would like to contact you the first step that I can do is that I have to send you a message in the Sky system first but if I contact you through Sky system and it doesn't work นะครับ I have to contact the secretary นะครับ our secretary actually they can access your phone number นะครับ they will call you for me but they don't give your phone number to me นะครับ because that one I shouldn't know your phone number นะครับ it's not my authority in order to see your phone number apart from that one okay on if I'm talking about what to say if I'm talking about your transcript นะครับ as I am your lecturer นะครับ the instructor of this course only once I go to Sky system I shouldn't have the authorized to see your transcript นะครับ but if I am your advisor I can see your transcript นะครับ so that's why every single information system need to set up the authorization for each user and this is important นะครับ you have to be careful when you set up the authorization นะครับ some of the software นะครับ when they have to set up the authorization they may have to set up a training course นะครับ for the system admin for setting up the authorization นะครับ because some of the authorizations setting up of some software the things that you may have to do is that you may have to set a table first นะครับ you just draw a table maybe in Excel and after that you have to just like specify that okay users in this role will get this kind of authorization นะครับ and after that once you create a user you just like assign the role of the user นะครับ to that person and after that the authorization will just like follow that role of user something like that นะครับ okay so in the future if you have to design authorization and you don't know how to do that okay you just like feel free to talk to me นะครับ because I mean like I created many authorization standard for some of the systems already and I know how to just like assign it นะครับ and the step in order to prepare it so that's why you can see that this is just like preparing the systems before you can do the changeover so that's why as I told you if you have a system today นะครับ the program is finished for the coding today already on 17th of November you can't start or you can't change over to the new system on the 18th straight away because you have lots of plans and lots of tasks to be done นะครับ and also you also need to have the evaluation of the results as well นะครับ because when the users have been using it นะครับ for the maintenance period นะครับ I mean after the system has been using นะครับ you need to have the evaluation for example when 1 month passed นะครับ how satisfaction level does the users have นะครับ you may have to just like do the formal evaluation as well after that นะครับ we talk about like some other things already like software quality assurance that you may just like need to have your software to be on the standard นะครับ so some of the company may use ISO standard นะครับ especially for ISO 9003 นะครับ in 2004 version นะครับ so this one if you have launched the software to be sold or to be used นะครับ in the industry you may need to have like the standard of the software like the ISO one like this but if you ask me that without the ISO can we sell the software yes we can no problem ครับ so that means if you just like develop a software and you would like to sell to the companies in the same industries like that if they don't mind about the ISO standard of the software quality assurance you can sell it to them นะครับ for example If you say that, okay, you have the connections with the many jewelry manufacturing companies นะครับ and then they need to have an information system to keep the stocks of the precious stones and their precious metals นะครับ and their what to say the products that the factory can produce. So this one you may just like create a software นะครับ in order to handle this kind of data, and after that you may be able to sell it to other companies, other jewelries as well นะครับ depends on the contract that you do with the first jewelries. If we say that, okay, for the first company, the first jewelry companies that you sign the contract with them, they just want to have the software only, but they don't want to own the source code นะครับ you can distribute that software to another company, you can sell it to another company as well นะครับ but if the first company asks you to write the software for them or develop the software for them นะครับ and they want to get the original source code of the software as well, then you can't resell this software to another company. The things that you may do at most is that you can just like use some parts, for example, input output นะครับ of the system that you design นะครับ to be used or to be reused นะครับ with the new system instead. The logic of program นะครับ you have to change because the first company has signed a contract with you already นะครับ so this one you have to also consider for the law of that countries as well, especially for the contract that you sign with your customer นะครับ so after that we talk about the application development นะครับ that we use like traditional methods, we use like agile or or we use agile methods. You have to know that you need to just like have the system design and then you just like review all of them properly before you start coding the programs นะครับ once you code the software นะครับ in terms of traditional methods นะครับ when you review all the documents from the previous phase already นะครับ you can start coding and testing. But in terms of agile methods นะครับ you have to collaborate the work with the IT teams and the users or customer นะครับ and do the iteration process in order to get the software already นะครับ and in terms of the application development นะครับ we may use like this kind of tool like ER diagrams to be just like create the tables in the database นะครับ you may also have the flowchart, pseudocodes, decision table, and decision trees นะครับ in this one system analysts can help preparing this kind of ER diagrams, flowchart, pseudocode, decision table, and decision trees นะครับ or you may collaborative working with the programmers to prepare this kind of output as the ER diagrams or the flowchart pseudocode, because I mean like when the programmers have to code the programs, they will use the logic of the program from these tools นะครับ that you created already, and then after that they will convert this kind of thing like pseudocode into that code นะครับ and for the project management นะครับ this one is the module, the last module that I'll talk about in this term นะครับ you have to know that project management is really important นะครับ because the system analyst นะครับ normally especially for the one whose role is the project manager has to manage the project, the information system project นะครับ because there are hundreds or thousands of modules or there are many tasks that different people in the team has to be responsible for นะครับ and also because everyone in the team may have different speed นะครับ or may have different pace in order to complete the task. So whenever you have to manage the project, it must be realistic นะครับ so that means the schedule must be realistic. For example, if you say that for coding I think one day we can finish, no ครับ that is not realistic. Check first, why do we say that it's one day? How large of the programs that you are responsible for? For example, if you say that you are responsible for what to say, log on up excuse me, log in and sign up screen, okay, one day I can accept. But if you say that, okay, you are responsible for receiving goods into the stocks นะครับ and then pick up the products from the warehouse in one day, I don't think so นะครับ because I mean like for the experienced system analysts or the experienced programmers, we can tell how long นะครับ will it last to code that part of the programs นะครับ that's why I can tell you that the project management, when you set up the schedule, it must be realistic. And also when we talk about the schedules, the deadline has to be set up as well, because each task must have its deadline. Because if you don't have the deadline for that task, when the new task has to be started and you haven't finished the previous task, some of the tasks you cannot be started if the previous task is not finished. That is important to to bring up the deadlines into the project management. And after that นะครับ money is related นะครับ money is important as well, so you need to have the cost control นะครับ because I mean like when the time goes by นะครับ you have to use the resources นะครับ for example you need to pay the salary to your employee or to your developer or to the system analyst. So that's why นะครับ if they cannot do everything on time, you still have to pay more นะครับ and also the quality must be maintained as well นะครับ that's why when we need to have project management นะครับ normally we don't draw it on a piece of paper. We have to use project management tools and project management techniques to help นะครับ